Right, let's get one thing straight off the bat. Not everyone believes in God. Shocking, I know. In fact, a significant portion of the global population identifies as atheist, agnostic, or simply non-religious. But some of us just don't buy the whole invisible sky daddy thing. We prefer to rely on science, reason, and evidence-based thinking. Just because we don't believe doesn't mean it doesn't affect our lives. Religion, whether we like it or not, has a profound impact on society. It shapes cultures, influences behaviors, and yes, even dictates laws. Because frankly, religion has a nasty habit of creeping into places it shouldn't, like our laws and governments. This isn't just a modern issue. It's been happening for centuries. You see it all the time. Politicians justifying policies based on ancient scriptures. They often use religious texts to back up their decisions, which can be problematic. Laws being passed that discriminate against certain groups because some holy book said it was a good idea a few thousand years ago. This can lead to systemic discrimination and inequality. It's enough to make you spit out your tea. Seriously, it's baffling how ancient beliefs can still hold so much sway in modern times. The problem is, when we let religious beliefs dictate our laws, we end up with a society that doesn't represent everyone. It marginalizes those who don't share the same beliefs. It's like having a vegetarian restaurant designed by a butcher. The intentions might be good, but the execution is flawed. Sure, it might work for some people, but the rest of us are left feeling a bit sick. We need laws that are inclusive and fair to all, not just a select few. Look, I understand many people feel that faith is not all bad. For billions of people, they may find that faith can provide comfort, community, and a sense of purpose. But when religion and faith starts dictating how we live, who we can love, and what we can or can't do with our own bodies, well, that's when this atheist starts to get a bit miffed. We need to ensure that our laws are based on reason, equality, and justice for all. History is littered with examples of what happens when religion gets too cozy with power. We've had the Crusades, the witch hunts, and let's not forget the Spanish Inquisition. Talk about a holiday you wouldn't want to repeat. And it's not just ancient history, is it? Look at the abortion debate raging across the world. Women being denied basic health care because some bloke in a frock reckons he knows what's best for their bodies. It's 2024 for crying out loud, not the Dark Ages. Then there's the fight for LGBTQ plus rights. People being told who they can and can't love based on interpretations of ancient texts. It's madness. Love is love, people. Get over it. These are just a few examples, but the point is clear. When religious beliefs are allowed to dictate laws, it often leads to discrimination and oppression. And that's something we should all be worried about, whether we believe in God or not. Now, I'm no constitutional scholar, but even I understand the importance of separating church and state. It's a fundamental principle that has been embedded in the very fabric of our nation since its inception. It's like keeping your socks and your sandwiches separate. Each has its own distinct place and purpose. Sure, they both have their place, but you wouldn't want to mix them up, would you? Imagine the chaos if you did. The idea is simple. Religion is a private matter, and the government should stay out of it. This means that individuals are free to practice their faith without interference. Likewise, the government should be neutral when it comes to matters of faith. It should not endorse or oppose any particular religion. No favoring one religion over another, and certainly no favoring religion over non-religion. This neutrality ensures that all citizens are treated fairly. This separation is crucial for a functioning democracy. It allows for a diverse society where multiple beliefs can coexist peacefully. It ensures that everyone is treated equally under the law, regardless of their religious beliefs or lack thereof. This equality is the cornerstone of justice. It protects freedom of conscience and allows us to live in a society where we can believe what we want without fear of persecution. Sounds pretty good, right? This freedom is what makes our society vibrant and dynamic. So why are we still struggling to make it a reality? Despite the clear benefits, the separation of church and state remains a contentious issue. Well, because some people seem to think that freedom of religion means the freedom to impose their beliefs on everyone else. This misunderstanding leads to conflicts and divisions. And that's just not cricket, is it? We need to remember that true freedom of religion means respecting the beliefs of others, even if they differ from our own. Imagine living in a world where everyone assumes you believe in God. It's a world where the default setting is faith, and anything outside of that is seen as an anomaly, where you're constantly bombarded with religious messages, from the car bumper stickers to the billboards to the seemingly endless stream of televangelists. Oh, the humanity. It's like being in a never-ending commercial for something you don't want to buy. This is the reality for many atheists and non-theists. We live in a world where our lack of belief is often misunderstood or outright ignored. We're constantly navigating a world saturated with religion, often feeling like we have to tiptoe around people's beliefs. It's like walking on eggshells, trying not to offend anyone while staying true to ourselves, like we're the weird ones for not subscribing to the dominant narrative. It's a strange feeling, being the outlier in a sea of conformity. It's not always easy being the odd one out. The sense of isolation can be overwhelming at times. You're constantly having to explain yourself, to justify your lack of belief. It's like being put on trial for simply being different. You're met with suspicion, confusion, even hostility. People often react as if your lack of belief is a personal affront to their faith. It's enough to make you want to crawl back into bed and pull the covers over your head. The mental and emotional toll can be exhausting. But we're not asking for special treatment, are we? We're simply asking for a level playing field. All we want is to be treated with the same respect and understanding as anyone else. To be seen as equals, not as outsiders. To live in a society where we can be open about our lack of belief without fear of judgment or discrimination. A society that values diversity of thought and belief. Is that really too much to ask? A world where everyone, regardless of belief, can coexist peacefully and respectfully. Atheists get a rough ride in many parts of the world. We're often seen as untrustworthy, immoral, even dangerous. Like we're one step away from sacrificing a goat in the town square. This prejudice can have real-world consequences. In some countries, atheism is illegal and can lead to imprisonment or even death. Even in more tolerant societies, atheists face discrimination in employment, housing, and education. And let's not forget the social stigma. Imagine being told you can't be a good person without God, or that you're going to hell because you don't believe in heaven. It's enough to make you want to scream into the void, which, let's face it, is probably all there is anyway. This discrimination is unacceptable. It's 2024, for God's sake. We need to move beyond these outdated stereotypes and embrace a more inclusive society where everyone is treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their beliefs. Here's a newsflash. Atheism is on the rise. More and more people are turning away from organized religion and embracing a secular worldview. And you know what? That's a good thing. It means people are starting to think for themselves, to question the status quo. They're realizing that you don't need religion to be a good person. That morality comes from within, not from some ancient book. This growing secular movement is a sign of progress. It's a sign that we're moving towards a more rational, compassionate, and just society. A society where everyone is free to believe or not believe as they see fit. But this progress is not inevitable. We have to fight for it every step of the way. We have to challenge the religious privilege that still permeates our societies. We have to demand equality and justice for all, regardless of belief. One of the biggest problems facing atheists and non-theists is the lack of open and honest dialogue about religion. Too often, it's seen as a taboo subject, something to be avoided at all costs. But this silence only benefits those in power, those who benefit from the status quo. We need to start talking about religion, and not just among ourselves, but with people of faith. We need to have respectful, open-minded conversations about our different worldviews. We need to listen to each other, to understand each other, and to find common ground. This won't be easy. There will be disagreements, there will be arguments. But it's through these difficult conversations that we can build bridges of understanding and create a more tolerant and inclusive society. So, the next time you're at a dinner party and the conversation turns to religion, don't shy away. Engage. Share your perspective. You might be surprised by what you learn. Secularism. It's not a dirty word, folks. It's not about attacking religion. It's about creating a society where everyone is treated equally, regardless of their beliefs. A secular society is one where the government doesn't favor one religion over another, or religion over non-religion. It's a society where laws are based on reason and evidence, not on religious dogma. It's a society where everyone is free to practice their religion or not, without fear of discrimination. Secularism is essential for a just and equitable society. It's the only way to ensure that everyone's rights are protected regardless of their beliefs. It's the only way to create a society where we can all live together in peace and harmony. So let's embrace secularism. Let's create a society where reason and compassion, not religious dogma, guide our laws and our lives. Right, listen up. You non-believers, skeptics, freethinkers, and anyone else who fancies a bit of reason in their lives. We've got work to do. The fight for secularism, for equality, for a society that respects everyone regardless of their beliefs, it doesn't happen by accident. We need to make some noise, challenge those in power, speak out against discrimination, support organizations fighting for our rights, vote for candidates who champion secular values. And for God's sake, see what I did there? Talk to people. Have those awkward conversations about religion. Share your perspective. Listen to others. You never know, you might just change someone's mind. We're not asking for special treatment, just a level playing field. A world where everyone is free to believe or not believe without fear of judgment or persecution. So let's get to it. The future of secularism and the rights of atheists everywhere depends on it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Freethinker's Journey.